My world
right.
Riley. She wrote all the days. Yeah. He was like, Brenna, do you want to like write lyrics to this? And I was mad because I was like, you just like sprung it on me at the literal last second. Like his record is done. What the hell?
Today on the podcast, well, it's going to go a little bit longer than usual, and that's absolutely fine. This is a killer band out of North Carolina, Raleigh to be specific, and we will get to that in just a minute. But before we do, don't forget The Swamp Crew Records. Go to www.theswamprecords.com/doomdoom to get in the Swamp Crew. It's a digital subscription for $5 a month. If you bump it up $2 to $7 a month, you'll also get a CD shipped to you with free shipping. The first month is also free. You'll even get a little bit of swag every once in a while, and there are some amazing bands. But don't take my word for it. Go over, click on the link in the show notes, and find out what the Swamp Crew is all about. Go to www.theswamprecords.com/doomdoom and get in the Swamp Crew now. This is the Doom Doom Podcast, the podcast for all things stoner, doom, and sludge. My name is Chris. I am your host. Today we're going to North Carolina, like I said, Raleigh to be most specific, to talk to Brenna and Tradd from the band Crystal Spiders. They have a brand new release. It's called Molt. It is on Ripple Music. That label has been putting out some killer stuff this year. I don't know if anybody picked up the Tony Reed release or at least did a pre-order on it. I know that'll be out soon. Cortez, Mr. Bison. There's so much going on over that label. Go check it out when you get the chance. Also, big thank you to Glory or Death Records and Mucho Printing for helping us out each and every week. And how can we forget this guy? Ian, thank you so much, brother, for helping edit this episode and all of the past episodes. Really appreciate it. Appreciate what you're doing with it and taking it to just the next level. So now I could take a breath and we could get into it. Let's hear the interview. This is it right now. Buzzed and doomed and stoned. Rock and roll right out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Their debut album, Molt, M-O-L-T, is available right now through Ripple Music. And I have both of the band members from the band Crystal Spiders. How are you both doing today?
Doing well. How about you, sir?
Outstanding. Now, could you please introduce yourselves and what you play in the band?
Sure. My name's Tradd. I play drums and percussion.
My name is Brenna. I play bass and I do vocals and occasionally some guitar.
There you go. Right on. All right. So, in listening to this album, and I know this is a two-piece here, but I saw that there were some like guests, I guess you could say, on the album. Now, whenever this day comes, when we're able to play live in front of people again, what are you going to do for that? Are you going to bringing somebody out on the road with you?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is, we want the fullest sound when we play live,
right?
To get the closest approximation to the record that we can. So yeah, the idea is let's bring out some cool players and maybe some special guests.
That is such a unique twist. You can even have like, I don't know, if you do a multiple day tour, a couple weeks or whatever, you have somebody 1 week, somebody another week, just grab a little bit wherever you can. I want to go into this album because this was awesome, man. I love this from the word go. I got a few advances of some of the songs, and now that the entire album is out, you get to listen to the whole thing, and it is really awesome. I want to go into it first. Before we talked a little bit off mic about where we were living, past places. Now you said you lived in Florida for a bit.
Yeah, when I was in high school, my mom moved around a lot. So a little bit in Daytona, a little bit in Tampa, a little bit in St. Pete, Clearwater. It's like pretty much once a year.
Yeah, I was in Florida for a very long time. I don't miss the humidity. But now you're in Raleigh, North Carolina. So let me ask you this, because I had some family in Winston-Salem and in that surrounding area, and I know Raleigh's like about a half hour from there or so.
From Winston-Salem, it's about an hour. Winston-Salem is actually where the artist who did our record cover lives, Tyler Pennington. He also did my sleeves.
Nice. No, you know what? While you brought that up, let's talk about that cover. This woman, she's got something going on, and it's like half serpentish. What can you tell me about this piece, and how does it relate to the album?
So the artist is my tattoo artist, and he said he'd always wanted to do a record cover, so we thought it'd be really great for him to do the album, and we told him the title being Molt. And if you go look at his Instagram, which is amazing, it's T Pennington Tattoo, like the number 2. Yeah. But he's like very well known for his amazing snakes. Like he does gorgeous, very like detailed snake tattoos. And so naturally, like when he heard the word molt, that was the first thing that he thought of, was like a snake shedding its skin. And I mean, I didn't give him any direction. I just gave him like pretty much full creativity and said, have fun. And that was what he came up with, and it really like wowed me.
Now, do either of you have one of his snake tattoos?
I actually do not. I have this giant tiger tattoo. This is the cat out of hell. And then I have 2 like Judas Priest-based tattoos, like Screaming for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith.
Very nice. Did you have you picked up or heard about the new Halford? What was it, like memoir? I guess you could say.
No.
Yeah, he just it's just about to release or it has released. I got to pick that up.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I want to hear about it, because as he's aged, you know, he's starting to tell some stories about things that, like, to me, you know, when you think of Priest, you think of metal, like right off the bat. And he's had such a different metal career than some other people, and he's actually willing to talk about it. I think it's going to be a very interesting read.
I mean, he's iconic, so like I don't know, I would be very interested to hear some of those sordid tales, I'm sure.
Yeah, the second we get off this thing, you know, she's going to go on her Amazon and like put that on there, like instantly.
Stop! Don't tell on me. I will.
And we're also reaching out to Rob Halford to say, hey, if you haven't checked out Molt by Crystal Spiders, please do. And also listen to the Doom Tune podcast if you get a chance. I'd really appreciate it. Yeah, he's a big fan. So let's get right into this. And I got some questions and some thoughts about this release. I mean, first off, lots of emotion in this. And there were some songs that I was really... You got me. You took me in the road, down that road. I miss this style of vocal. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. And I you know, I guess the first question regarding that is, Brenna, what are your influences vocally? And also, Tradd, what are your influences percussion-wise?
So, yeah, I have been playing in bands, I guess like 15 years or so now,
right.
Primarily as a vocalist, sometimes as a guitarist, and this is my first band on bass. And I would say, like, vocally, I mean, Rob Halford is actually a huge influence.
There you go.
It's funny you bring that up, yeah.
But
I'm going to have to email this to him so he makes sure to listen to this episode.
I really appreciate that. If you pass that along, sign it. Kisses, Brenna. But like some of the songs on the record, I don't even know if I tried, but I was like inspired to pull out from some of my like power metal, new wave of British heavy metal like
Sure.
background. So there's like See You in Hell has some kind of like little Diamond Head like vocal patterns that I tried to bring out a little bit here and there. I've also been experimenting more with like kind of like vocalizations, like in the second half of The Call, like where it's not necessarily like lyrical, but it's just kind of like adding texture and melody, like to play with some of the other instruments. So
I was trying to think of what to call it. Like there's some pieces of the song where it's not quite like scatting or whatever, but terrible name, by the way. But still, it's like I know what you mean, and I felt it. Do you mind? First off, for the percussion, influences?
Yeah. So when I was growing up, my parents didn't have a whole lot of records in the house.
Right.
It was mostly classical and stuff like that. But when I was living up north for a hot minute, the property manager and I were buddies, and he was like, "Oh, dude, these people are moving out, and they had a domestic dispute. Like, you can totally sift through their records." And it was up to, like, probably my chest of like funk records and swing and big band music and stuff.
Right.
So that was my first exposure to like, oh, dude, these rhythms are amazing. Like, so actually, I'm a huge blues player. I listen to blues all the time. I listen to swing music.
Okay.
And I feel like there's a big crossover in doom. Like, I mean, you can get a good groove, and my job, at least from the rhythm section side of things, is to get people's head bobbing. And if your head ain't bobbing in the car, and if it ain't bobbing in the studio when you're listening to the mix, then you're doing something wrong. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? So that's how I approach it. It's not supposed to be fancy. I mean, it can if you want to be, but like, what do they say?
It gets lost in the sauce or something.
The groove pays the bills. Like, so.
I've never heard that. Literally never. Is that drummer talk?
That's drummer. But it's true. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So that's how I always approached it, with a little bit of syncopation. Not always following a metronome. A little bit of beat shading. Like, get it so people are bobbing their head a little bit. Follow the riff.
And something I found very interesting about the drum sound here. Sometimes in the genres, I feel that it gets lost a little bit. Some notes get lost, some drums get lost. I hear everything succinctly and perfectly. Like, were you involved in the miking process, or was there some type of special process for miking?
So no, but I was, in terms of the type of drums and what I wanted to use. So Mike Dean is actually a big fan of using the worst possible drums he can and make them sound great. But I made a deal with the guy who built my drums, the guy who builds Anchor drums up in Wake Forest.
Right.
And he's an awesome guy. And I made him a deal. I was like, yeah, when I get this, record deal and contract and all the stuff, like, I promise your drums will be on this record. So awesome. Mike Dean was kind of thrown for a loop when he had all this tone to deal with. And but I think it ended up, in the grand scheme, because you can hear individual notes. Like, it's not just a skin to hit. It's, an instrument itself.
Oh, completely. And if you don't mind, I'd like to just start going on some of these tracks here. Let's kick it off here with the first track, and that is Trapped. I got this. At first, I love the idea that I was kind of looking at the illustration at the time, and that snaky, slithery kind of start vocal with that slithery bass line. What can you tell me about Trapped?
So I think that was actually like the first, or one of the first songs that we wrote. And I am a big fan of like kind of the keep it simple, stupid methodology of just like, having like kind of a hypnotic repetition of something, and then like building those layers, building those textures. And like my other bands, like Lightning Born, is usually very stripped. Like, there's only one vocal. I don't do a lot of like harmonies. I don't do a lot of doubles. Like, it's pretty like straightforward and straight ahead. And this one, I feel like, is more of a chance for me to kind of like play with the palette, of having multiple vocal lines and multiple vocal harmonies on top of like kind of a wash of like fuzzy guitar sounds. And
well, the song's been, I mean, it's been the same. We haven't really altered it since like day one. Like we sat down and we're like,
no, and it's really
good.
only
like
got
it.
like 2 parts. Like it's got like 2 riffs, and that's
Sometimes
enough.
that's all you
Like
need.
that for me anyway. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
I kind of felt like it's a good introduction. It's a good lead-in. Like for the doom genre, it's familiar enough that I feel like people could be like, "Oh, if I like this, I'll probably like that." And then that would at least coax people to like get their feet wet and check out the rest of the record, right?
Absolutely.
And then I think after having listened to the record many times at this point, it's a good like first song on the record for that same reason too. Like it kind of like it's like leading you into the world.
It does, and and when we go into the next track, when we go into Molt, and the title track of the release, it's to me completely different. This is an eye-opener, punky garage rock feel. I don't know what it is about this person. It sounds like it's not about a great person. But then you get this fuzzy breakdown to a raunchy, stripped but dirty solo. And there was one thing. This is personal. There's this one little part. It's very tiny, and it's close to the end, around the 322, 323 mark. Where, and I don't know, it might have been you, Tradd, where there's just like this, hey, and it's so nothing to a lot of people, but I love the hell out of that because when I hear a band do that, even if it's live, it's like this band just got caught in their own moment and they're feeling it and they're grooving and they're vibing. What can you tell me about Molt?
So just that one part, that's actually an homage to Dave Grohl's shout on Songs for the Deaf.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he does the exact same thing. And I was like, not to copy it, but like, no, we needed a signal when we were doing it on stage live.
Right.
Because each of those are like smaller retardandos, not that you would like notice them, but when we're doing it live is we need a signal for that last one to all come in together. And it just seemed like a perfect little like accent just to get it rolling. And when we were recording it, at least from the rhythm side of things, was we wanted it to sound raw, we wanted it to sound rough and heavy and fast and just like, and there were little mistakes in there that when Dean was going over and over, he's like, "You want to keep that?" And I was like, "Yeah, fucking keep it, man. Like it's good, like worth it. Like I'd rather have the energy of the track than have it be overdone or make it absolutely perfect." That's kind of the vibe we wanted off of this one. We get trapped, we hook you in, and now we're just yanking on the line.
It's a feel. It's just straight up feel. Brenna, what can you tell me about Molt?
So, thematically, first of all, I have to tell you a joke before I tell you this, but
Please.
Go for it.
Well, it's a phone call actually from my dad yesterday, and my dad is like, have you gone to Molt yet? And I was like, what? And he's like, Molt, that's a planet, right? And I was like, what? Do you think Molt is a planet? Like Pluto is a planet? And I was like, Molt is a verb. Like
Planet Molt.
To shed one's skin. Yeah.
Molt, man. And I was like, goddamn. Maybe that is kind of cool, Planet Molt.
maybe that's something in the future. You had Bruce Willis, you had Stallone, you had Schwarzenegger. They did Planet Hollywood. You could do Planet Molt easily.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know what would be on the menu, but you know,
Something disgusting, I'm sure.
yeah, something filthy.
But about the song, I guess. So to me, it's like about metamorphosis and how your limitations are only in your mind, but you can get trapped in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like,
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I know. Didn't I? Told you. Please don't. I've told people, don't let me talk in interviews, man, because every single time people will type literally what I say, and I look like an idiot.
No, but they want to know like what the songs are about. Like you have,
I'm explaining.
Yeah,
but
it's a story. It's a story. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, it's a story. But I think I noticed that some recurring imagery like will happen in my songs, and it's actually, I have very vivid, weird dreams that like sometimes wake me up.
Okay.
And so like some of the song lyrics, they're literally like stuff that woke me up from a dream and I had to write it down. So like,
it's the best thing to do.
Yeah. So also I was really into the moth memes. So like getting
those were short-lived.
God, I missed the moth meme.
Hold on, the moth meme?
Yeah, it's like a little moth like sitting at a bar, and there's a light at the other end of the bar, and you just slowly see him like hopping over to the light.
There's this giant moth, and he's at the window, and he's looking at you because he wants your lamp, and then like the moth.
Oh, yes.
Google the moth memes; they're hilarious. But I got really into them for a while, and
because we wrote the song like a year and a half ago, and that's when they were like hot.
Is that song actually about the moth memes?
Is there a way that maybe if you were to contemplate that, you could have the old the butterfly meme with that? Hey,
that's your department. That's your department.
So let's move forward to Tiger Lily.
The video.
See, that's how you found it.
Damn it.
Hey, great idea. So Tiger Lily, very different, of course, than the Natalie Merchant stuff. And one thing that I found really interesting about the sound of this track, I felt like I was right next to you with the recording. Like it was, like I could imagine just, like the snare and stuff. It's like the cymbals like directly next to me, and that's one thing I really love because it really helps me to get into the song, and it just from having that it sucked me in right away, and that, like we said it off mic a little bit, it's in that like small, hot, dark, dank dive bar. And it's the kind of song that I want to hear in that space because it's, like a low ceiling. It's kind of confined space. What can you tell me about Tiger Lily?
Well, I mean, we played a bunch of those shows when we were kind of testing out the record. Right. You want to tour a little bit. You want to see what people like.
Sure.
At least rhythmically for me, is I really wanted. I don't know. Most drummers, they sign up for Buddy Rich, right? Super technical,
right?
Hitting all the right stuff. I was always the opposite direction. I love Krupa. Krupa in that battle, in my opinion, Krupa wins that battle because he does not give a single fuck. Like he is playing and he is having a good time, and he's gonna go out back and have a good time afterwards. Like that's just his vibe. And so with this track, the melody that Brenna had was just so groovy that I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw every single tom in there. And then when Dean heard it too, Dean was like, we're actually going to record this separate. So I recorded the toms and cymbals separately.
Oh, cool.
Just so we could not have it, because I'm a huge Caius fan, so I want a bunch of cymbals to bleed into everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like Blues for Red Sun kind of style. But for this track specifically, it was like, no, I want these toms to be in your face. And so he's like, all right, whatever we're doing, you got to do it separate. Play each of them as separate tracks and put them together. Perfect. And I think it sounded cool, and it gives them kind of a thunderous kind of vibe to it, while still keeping that kind of Caius vibe throughout.
Well, that's the kind of track where I'm like, you know what, I need this on vinyl, period. And you know, I don't know, did we discuss this already yet? The vinyl looks stunning, and let's look at this for a second before we continue. And Brenna, I also want to hear about Tiger Lily, but we have on this vinyl, it's kind of like this swirliness. There's it's like a, I don't know, what would you consider that? What color is that? Like a brownish?
I told Todd asked me what color it was. Todd, our record.
Okay.
I was like, hazy tobacco smoke.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
Yeah. You know,
Definitely. Yeah, it's got that hazy smoke. So let's say a hazy tobacco. That could be a color.
it could be a color. It is a color.
It is now.
It actually sounds like one of those, you know, like I guess I'm
on you. I want to see what color yours is.
I don't have it. I don't have it yet. You know what? It's the thing. I have to. I actually have to. Holy shit! Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I might edit this, but let's see here. I'm gonna add this to the cart right now because I just looked. There's one left, and let's see if I can. Hold on. Let me see if I can complete. I'm gonna complete this purchase while I'm talking to you. Hold on a second.
Hey,
Wait.
don't feel bad. I did that with Ruby the Hatchet's.
I just got it, dude. It's fucking sold out.
I know. I got it right.
You got the last one.
I got the very last
the
Ruby
last
the Hatchet
one.
tape.
No shit.
And,
Wait.
and we just bought a touring van.
Right.
And it
It
only has a tape.
cassette deck.
It only has a cassette deck. So I'm like, oh, well, now there's my excuse to go to record stores and pick up some badass, tapes. And so we were farting around, and I sent Brenna this thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's Bandcamp Free Friday. I'm down.
I'm like, it's not Bandcamp Friday.
But I regret, you know what? I regret nothing. I regret nothing.
He's like, and I'm gonna buy this, and I'm gonna buy this, and I'm gonna this. I'm like, no, Tradd, it's next Friday.
And that's honestly what I've been waiting for. But you know what? There was one. Guess what? It is officially sold out on the Ripple page. So all right. So I guess we got to talk. Well,
So we
all right.
feel bad for you.
I bought.
A high five real quick.
Is it the Bandcamp or is it the Big Cartel?
I'm on Bandcamp, and
Check Big Cartel because they have different inventories. I've noticed.
well, I go through Bandcamp that way. I can have the digital when I need it. So I got the.
I could send you a code.
Oh, that's we're good. We're good on that. But I have I've got this now, a Blacklight Spiderweb edition, and it actually says there it looks opaque black at a glance, but what it really is hazy tobacco. Very nice.
Well, they're all very different too because
Yeah, that's why she asked to see what yours look like.
they are very different.
we're
Like
curious.
some of them are more kind of like lighter caramel when you hold them up to the light, and then
Yeah, that's
some
what I'm
of them
seeing.
are more like kind of dark, rich tobacco, and then some of them are still close to like almost black, like the brown is so dark, and then it's almost like a mottled kind of speckled color. They're very unusual. Like, and I think in one of the posts I made, I was like, just like a spider web, no two are alike because they're not. Like, they're all very different.
And that's perfect. And even with the black, there's just a few left. So, and I guess if you go on Big Cartel, maybe there's a different inventory. I don't know, but I know I got mine. I literally just hit it. So,
Yeah.
all right. I'm sorry. I'm babbling here. Tiger Lily, what can you tell me?
Please, babble. Tell me how great we are. No, really, I've had a terrible week. But no, this has been one thing, for a moment of seriousness, huge thanks to Ripple and to Purple Sage PR for all of the hard work that they've done on this record because, as you know, in the times of Corona, like all of our tours, all of our gigs were canceled. This is the first time we've ever had to go through a record release where we can't play. We can't play any shows to promote it. Like, it's
frustrating.
It's frustrating. It's depressing. It's the bigger a fuss everybody makes about it online, like, it makes me feel a little better. Because it's like, Poor me and Tradd, man. We hang out and play probably like 4 times a week right now because we're just so like pent up. Like, we miss playing. We miss
playing
music.
playing in front of people is so different, and it's like that's, you know, it like recharges your batteries, and you learn stuff about the songs you're writing, and then people come up afterward and be like, "Oh, that was cool," or like, "Not so much." Like, but it depends. Like,
Good set. Can I use your SVT?
exactly. Yeah.
Got a cable I can borrow?
Yeah, it's missing. Like, yeah, we're missing something out of our lives, and and I feel like everybody is. You know what I mean? We're not
right.
trying to like
No,
boo-hoo or anything.
not at all.
Some people are missing more, but it's like that's such a good quality interaction with other people.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
And it's just sort of like
I'm so happy that, like, you know, Ripple took a chance on us. Like, I've got another band, Lightning Born, that's on the label, and Todd didn't even listen to the demo. He was just like, "Oh yeah, I trust you. Your record's gonna be great." And I was like, "You don't, you want to listen?
You don't even want to taste?" Like,
and he's like, "No, you're gonna kill it." And I was like to have somebody that believes in you, but then also in these kind of like trying times.
Sure.
We'll still take the risk.
We'll work hard to like get your music out and in front of people, and it has been very heartwarming to kind of see the good response that it's gotten. Obviously, it's only been out a day, but like sometimes it's in the first day where you know whether it made an impression or not. So
it sold out of Bandcamp on the first day. I think you're doing pretty good. I think you're doing good. You know, there's one thing that I got to talk about with this track, Tiger Lily. Lyrically, it took me some different places. Anything you want to share about that?
So that
was an early one too.
That was an early one. That was actually, I think I mentioned I'm a very new bass player. This is my first band on bass.
Right.
And this was like one of the first songs that we wrote, and the melody was like challenging for me to like play the rhythm and sing the melody at the same time. But I had it in my head how I wanted it to go. So like it took me, I don't know, probably like a month or so to be able to do it without sounding stupid.
Well, no, it's like an actor, right? Like, once you had the first couple notes, right? Once you had the first couple lines, you were solid, right? And the rest was easy. It was just like, you know, like kickstarting that thing. That's what you had trouble with. You knew the part, and you could play the part in practice every single time. It was just like give me that first one. And I think that was the gist. So,
and then like lyrically, it's kind of two different things. Like, some of the imagery in it is actually inspired by Al from Sleep, because like if you ever read his lyrics, they're very kind of like not necessarily grammatically correct and kind of like stunted at times, where like if you read it in a sentence, you'd be like, that's not right. But like it sounds good when he sings it.
Yeah, it sings well.
Yeah, so I kind of like took a little bit of inspiration from that. And then the chorus is actually like something like, well, she didn't call me Tiger Lily, but it's something that a woman said to me like when I was in middle school, like basically like, why are you letting people fuck with you and take advantage of you?
Right.
Like, just be yourself. And I don't know, for whatever reason, like it kind of reminded me of that moment in my life of you know, when you feel insecure and like other people are messing with you and trying to like get you to do whatever they think you should do or whatever they want you to do. And some moment that some people find and some people don't, where you finally just learn to stand up and be like, hey, these are my boundaries. You're not going to push me around. Like, and then you're just very like centered at your core, so to speak. So that was kind of like, that song to me was like an entreatment to like that version of myself or like someone else of trying to get them to learn to be more self-assured.
Well, you know what?
It kind of reminded me of Alice in Wonderland, like the scene of the little singing like flowers.
What it does for me is it brings me into the next track, I can tell you, because I don't know much about the singing flowers. I'm going to be honest. I remember that the smoking what was that? The Smoking Caterpillar or something?
Yeah, no, it's in the Alice Carroll book. I know what you're talking about.
It's in the movie Alice in Wonderland where there's like
not the Johnny.
No,
Depp.
it's literally a tiger lily. It's got like a little tiger face, and it's like. You'd have to watch
we have to watch
Disney
it again. We gotta watch
now
we have Disney Plus. We could watch it tonight.
Hell yeah, Alice in Wonderland.
We're having a sleepover tonight.
Because we're recording tomorrow.
We're having a live stream. We're gonna watch music documentaries and apparently Alice in Wonderland.
And get Rob Halford's new book, of course.
And we're gonna read the book. No, because we're recording tomorrow for the next
we have
record.
To sleep tonight.
No shit, really? Are you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're already starting the second album. We have taken the summer that was supposed to be full of touring and shows,
Which
and filled it with writing a new record. So actually tomorrow is the breaking of the ground on the new record. We're going to lay down the first half pretty much.
Yeah, cross your fingers, we get 4 done.
Awesome. I would look forward to hearing that. When you're talking about this lily, this tiger flower, was it a singing flower? I need to know.
So
I got a reason.
In the movie, it is a singing flower. And the flowers are actually pretty mean to Alice, which is kind of fitting, I guess. Because that's what the song is about.
Story,
that's what the song is about. It. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like my mind is like a very strange place where I have 3 like concurrent thoughts at once.
Right.
Just put it on paper and then sing it, and then everybody will like it. And you're fine.
Well, that song is like kind of that. It's like 3 different things at the same time that my brain is just like woven together at the time.
And then you have like multiple, like this reminds you of this, reminds you of this, reminds you of this.
Kind of, yeah.
Because that's what as soon as you're talking about this Alice and whatever flower thing.
Alice in Wonderland, come on.
Alice in Wonderland flower thing. It reminds me. There was this show I used to watch. Now I'm a bit older, so there was a show I used to watch out of New York, and it was called The Magic Garden. What a wonderful show! And there was 2 hippie women, Carol and Paula, and they would swing on a swing, and they'd have their acoustic guitar, and they had their songs, and you'd see like little mushrooms around, and then they would go over and talk to a pink squirrel. I forgot the squirrel's name, but then the grand part of the entire show was the chuckle patch, and this was a patch of flowers that was on the base of the tree, and these flowers would just laugh, and there was jokes attached to them, and then they would tell jokes. Please.
You said chuckle patch? I'm in. Say no more.
Did these two women eat the mushrooms that were talking to them?
There were several things going on, but I'm telling you, it's a delightful show. Please, it's on YouTube. I'm all for YouTube rabbit hole, like everybody knows. It's one to check out, even if you just see their opening and closing credit songs. They had good and they not only did they have good voices, they actually toured, and it was a thing. And I don't know, they got to be in their 70s by now, easily. And I don't know, it was a very regional thing. We have to talk about Mucho Printing, and by we, I basically mean Mucho himself. So take it away, Mucho.
Yeah, what's up, big dogs? This is Mucho Drums here to tell you a little bit about my new company, Mucho Printing. Now, I played in multiple bands for several years, and I know how important it is to leave your mark after any show. Even before hitting that first note, you want the crowd to know who you are and remember who's responsible for the sore necks the next morning. Presentation is an important factor in any band's mission to the top, and that's where we come in. Fully printed backdrops, removable bass drum covers, mesh cab covers, flags. These are just a few products that we can offer to you. We're based out of Los Angeles, California, and can ship anywhere in the United States. More importantly, our goal is to help promote bands off the stage as well. With every order, we'll post pictures of the prints, along with info about the band and any other advertisements you'd like us to include. Please check us out on Instagram and Facebook by searching Mucho Printing. Send us a message for any details. Hope all of you are staying safe, strong, and powerful out there. And remember, you win some, you lose some, but nothing beats getting some. Cheers, my friends.
We'll get right back into the interview in just a minute, but first, I just gotta know how Tommy's doing.
Well, hey there, Tommy. What's with the long face? I don't know why I feel the way I do. I'm just not happy, Doc. Like, I don't feel right. Oh, I think you have anxiety, Tommy. You know, I know exactly what you need. I'm going to go ahead and write you a prescription for a record player and some sweet new records at Glory or Death Records. That'll get you back on your feet again, and right as rain in no time. Glory or Death has all the best bands. Moss Generator, Red Wizard, Love Gang, Red Witch Johnny. They'll get you feeling peachy keen again. They even have an insane double album tribute to Thin Lizzy featuring High on Fire, Mothership, Dual, Worshipper, and tons more. Wowee! Oh, that sure is keen. Side effects may include extreme giddiness, bloodshot eyes, random cravings, forgetfulness, bleeding of the ears, confusion, nausea, constipation, diarrhea, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, ulcers, or death.
And when we go from Tiger Lily to Chronic Sick, now, in the beginning of this track, I like how like it kind of swirls around me, envelops you. It envelops you like body and soul kind of feeling. But when I go from Tiger Lily to Chronic Sick, I kind of getting this almost this progress of gaslighting in a way. Is there any of that in the song, or what can you tell me about Chronic Sick?
At least when we were coming up with it, is Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats' last record had just come out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was unanimous at the time that No Return was our favorite track off that record. And the idea was, let's take one riff and just, write it out and build off that. And so if there's one, obviously our name comes from an Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats track.
Mm-hmm.
So this was kind of this was our No Return on our record. So at least from the musical rhythmic standpoint, that's what we were approaching from.
I got you. And
our guitar player at the time, Mike DeLoach, that was kind of his baby. That one and Gutter were ones that he and I kind of constructed. And to be honest, we banged both of them out in 20 minutes a pop.
And those are also the only two songs that I did not write the lyrics for. Mike DeLoach did.
That was going to be my next question. Do you write the majority of the lyrics, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I write them all. He wrote those two songs and felt very powerful about them, which I think you are noticing that is kind of like a departure in tone, like the lyrics there, but they're very good lyrics.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's something about not only the music but the lyrical content as well. When it wraps you up, it just it pulls you in, and that's what music is about. We want that. You want to, I don't know. Okay, so you're musicians, obviously. Now, do you ever run across somebody, which I have, that you ask like, well, what's your favorite, or what was the last couple of albums you bought or whatever? I don't really listen to music. It's not really my thing.
I ignore those people. I cut them out of my life as fast as possible.
I don't really understand. I don't listen to music. Just last night somebody was like, "Oh, I listen to everything. I like metal," and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, what's the stratosphere of metal that you're talking about?" And he's like, "No, like Pantera, Metallica." I was like, "Okay."
Now you know what you're dealing with.
That's what I was like. Okay, well, you dipped a toe. Would you like to learn more? I could, I try to like foster people to, take a little exploration when they can, because even just yesterday, someone that I know from college bought the album, and she sent me a message, and she was like, I always thought I didn't like metal. I have never considered myself a person that was into metal. Okay. I really love your album. I didn't know metal could sound like this. And I was like, okay. I feel like we're bringing another one over to the dark side. But
one by one.
But that's also when you were saying about lyrics, emotion, making people feel, making people think, that's what music is about for me. I feel like if you listen to a song, either that I've written or that I've just performed, and you feel something, based on like the way that I've been able to do it. It's like an actor, right? Like,
That's the point.
That is the point. It's a connection. It's a bridge between I don't know, your inner souls or whatever. But that's also why I personally can't get that down with like Cookie Monster vocals and
I got you.
Like I like it sometimes. I admire it when other people do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it, but I want to hear the words. Like I'm kind of a poet and a literature nerd, like at heart, and that's what I like. A song that tells a story, whether it's like a literal story or a moment in time or like a feeling or like that's what I like.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Let's move on to interesting title here. CUN, Hell. Now, there's first off, the end of this is fucking scorching, but there is just one part in the song, the way you said the word mystery. I really found it interesting the way you created that word. What can you tell me about this track? And was there a reason, or would this just come up naturally, or?
So the See You in Hell title is like a play on Grim Reaper, See You in Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, most people,
right.
But not to everybody, so you still have to say it.
You can like. I'm more of a Midnight Screams kind of Grim Reaper. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my. Have you ever heard it?
That's like I like that.
Yeah, when we were working on that, you did come into the room. It's like
I'm such a nerd, but yeah, I guess like that song lyrically to me is like how it's almost like live fast, die young sort of thing, of like a feeling of you know you're gonna die, you don't really care so much about the destination, but you just want to like burn as brightly as you can. Like
somebody told me at work that their goal was to slide into their coffin sideways, start up battered, bruised, and that's how they knew they lived a good
that's
life.
not like a Hunter S. Thompson quote.
You couldn't have. I don't know. Somebody told me at work. But like,
Yeah, it's
Look,
like
I'm just gonna go old school. I'm gonna quote Def Leppard. It's better to burn out than to fade away. Thank you.
well, who could say it better?
exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Unda Gleben Glaben Globen, whatever. I mean,
well, I can't say that better.
But and at least from the kind of rhythmic and melody side of things, it was super organic. We were just kind of like reaching for stuff, and we're like, oh, we tried different things. We tried different things when we were playing it live.
Right.
Like, that sounds cool. Oh, how about a Sabbath breakdown at the end? Cool, we'll do that. How about a return to just like driving that thing into the ground like a sledgehammer? All right, let's try that. Like, how about like we were just like we were shooting at the hip. We were riffing off. It was cool. We were riffing off each other, and like we were letting the stuff that sounded solid stick.
Well, because sometimes songs, they come together like they just are what they are, and they're like kind of complete when they come out of the sieve, so to speak. And then other times, and it's songs like this where the collaboration is like the fun part of it, especially for me, thinking about all of the influences that I kind of like pulled from for this song. Like I said, like some Diamond Head, like Feel My Fate, like
nice
Diamond Head for me, but Grim Reaper, and just being able to like share each other's like influences and joy while you're like coming up with new ideas is what makes it a really like fun song at the end.
Absolutely, it does. Now we're gonna go forward to Gutter. Got another kind of narrative of a person seemingly going down the wrong road. What can you tell me about this track?
Well, so again, this is one that Brenna didn't write the lyrics for. I can tell you I can't speak to the lyrics so much as I can how he recorded it and how it happened. So Deloach and I banged this out in one take.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. We just went in and just laid it down, and I was like, "You good with that?" I was like, "I'm great with that. You good with that?" And in my opinion, from a rhythmic standpoint, is that this is the grooviest song on the record.
Right.
There's, and then Brenna came in later bass part perfectly, and everything just matches up. So I think it's a perfect segue from See When Helmed Can Call, because we had, it's like the ice cream and the ice cream sandwich, right? You got these two awesome pieces of cake, but then you need something to bob your head to in the middle, where you're not just like, yes, I'm totally going 15 miles over the speed limit. Like, I need something where you're gonna like, ooh, this will get you so you don't get arrested. So that to me, rhythmic wise, is what gutter is, right? You're still bobbing your head, but you're bobbing your head at like 69 miles per hour. 69.
Well, there's all right, bad joke. You ready?
Oh, go on.
Go on.
I would say it would be more 68 miles an hour. Because when it's 69, you blow a rod.
Oh, see, you said that she was going to make the dad jokes.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Some of the tech.
I was gonna say nobody can see the video of this. It's really sad. You should have seen my face. It was awesome. I was literally delighted.
I might have to find that in the video and just
like,
that
screenshot me like. Oh man!
All right, so moving forward to The Call, headbanger, rocker. At the 2:30 mark, we got this little, full board, slows down. Is this about tattoos?
No.
What is this song about? I
actually pulled up the lyrics, like, on our little record sheet, because I couldn't remember all of them off the top of my head.
Okay. I kind of got this.
I remember them all, but it's like,
No, that's what I'm saying. You need the first
they're
line.
just like, they're in my
Just
head.
like an actor.
They're
Sure.
somewhere active. But,
I kind of got this vibe like it was almost a narrative of what it was like to get tattoos, where there was some unique emotions attached to it.
actually, this is about my office job.
All right.
Yeah, like, so,
That is cracking me up. Seriously?
yeah.
That's awesome. That he got tattoos out of it and you got office job out of it.
Well, it's about the fact that, like,
That's cool.
well, it's about, like, so society, but no, society, like, it forces you to do what you're supposed to do to be a productive member of society, right? Like, you have to go to school, or you have to get homeschooled, or whatever. You have to live somewhere that's going to cost you money in some way, shape, or form, whether that's going to be paying taxes on the land, or paying rent, or paying your electric bill, or whatever.
You're indebted
Like,
to...
you have to be a cog in the machine, so to speak. Like, if there is a way to, quote-unquote, live off the grid, but still, like, live...
What? Just because you're necessary doesn't mean you're important. Like, you're just a cog in the machine.
Well, that's the point. It's like, when you think of how unnatural it is that I spend, like, 8 hours a day staring at a screen, like,
right.
Animal, man. Like, I should be out
Killing
in the
stuff.
woods. But I hate the woods, because there's, like, ticks and bugs and stuff.
There
But,
are.
like,
That's only her. I love the woods. But it's like, why can't we spend the
I
time
love
doing
the
what we
woods.
wanted to?
But,
You know what I mean?
well,
But we have
we're
to do
doing
that.
what we're, like, biologically programmed to do. Like, we are animals. We're, like, creatures of, like, touch, taste, smell, like, and then also, what is man? Like, we're also philosophical creatures that, like, I wish I could just fucking, excuse my French, sit around and, like, read.
That was French? Oui. Oh, please.
But yeah, that's what this song is about to me. It's feeling kind of like a yearning to not have to work an office job.
Not do the norm, it's like when I see some people on social that are going around and they're doing some things that, like, I know it's not for everybody, but I kind of like looking at the van life, where people transform a van and then they live out of it and they're at different parks and doing different things. I don't know. I get a kick out of watching it.
So when I bought the van, when I bought Necrovancer, is I went down a rabbit hole, like all these van videos, because I'm like, all right, let's get solar panels. Let's look that shit up. Let's see how this goes. Like, how much do you want to pay for this? What are the stops? So I totally went down. We were talking about like the black hole of YouTube videos. I found that, and I found one of this girl that's lived the van life, and she goes into the stuff that you don't see. So she was like, I actually have horrible driving anxiety now. She's like, because this is my home. She's like, she got hives all over her body. She was freaking out, and she's like, but I have to post these videos because that's my revenue stream to get the gas. And just like after watching that, I was like, oh my God.
I actually have a couple of friends who did that. They sold their home, they bought a Sprinter van, and they're both writers, and they went, they quit their jobs and they sold their house, so they bought a van and they like went across the country everywhere for a year. And like some of the stories, I mean, they had like 3 pets in there too. Like 2 people, 3 pets, you have to shower at like truck stops.
Yeah, you can go to a truck stop. You can stop off at like one of these spaces for the mobile homes and stuff. And I've had clients of mine that have done this. They did it for like 15 years, and I said, like, how do you survive though? It's like, well, instead of paying to stay at this mobile park, you work there, and you do trade, and it's like, well, this needs to be cleaned, this needs to be moved, and you do that, and you get to stay there for free. It's like. And there's a part of me that I find that so fascinating, and at the same time, I'm looking. I was like, "Are you putting money in your 401k right now? Are you? Because
that's the thing. Is like we all kind of have this desire. I think of like
we all romanticize it.
The grass is always greener. Like I wish I could. I wish I could run away. I wish I could live on an island. I wish I could be Henry David Thoreau or whatever it is. Like. But the actual real logistics of doing that come with a whole host of other problems. Because like I look at my life and not to toot my own horn, but I'm sure a lot of people would be like, "Wow, you really have it made. Like you have a great job, and you get to do your bands on the time when you're not sitting at the computer." And
well, and also it's a romantic idea, but then. I've been on tours where right around the between 14 and 21 day mark,
right?
People get real salty, real fast. Well, no, I mean you shower when you can, but it's like
baby wipes are essential.
You do wet wipes. The wet wipe pour bath is essential. But
I'm a princess on tour. Excuse me. I have a queen size air mattress, which.
But you can see, but you get the gist where somebody really wanted to do this, but then you actually see them out and doing it, right? And you see the same thing in like the military, right? Like, I want to go overseas and do all this stuff, and they go out there and they're like, "This is not what I signed up for," and it's like, so I don't know. I think it's healthy to have the romantic idea of van life,
of course.
But at least for musicians, when we are most alive. Is when we're playing in front of people and when we're on stage playing. And the touring and the van thing is a means to an end. It's a way to get from A to B.
Right.
As comfortably as like it's not the end in itself.
I totally get it, man. I understand it. I mean, I'm not, I would be down for doing it for a little bit, but eventually that sneaking thing of like, do I have a savings here? What's happening with my life? What's going to be happening in 30 years? I don't know. But either way, before we go into this final track, there is my editor, Ian, from Stone Witch and also No Masters Audio. He messaged me just now. He says, "Wow," because I send him messages of who I'm going to be interviewing, and I send like a Bandcamp link. Here, check it out and tell me what you think. He says, "Wow, they are amazing. Did you already do it? Am I already too late?" So another, like I said, it's all about praise. And let's talk a little bit about the final track.
Thank you. Please. Fuck my ego. It needs to.
No. We appreciate it. Like, we're just glad that we write stuff that we want to listen to in the car. You know what I mean? Like, we write stuff that we want to hear. Like, and just that other people love it is awesome. Like,
it is really
I will
awesome.
never discount that.
Well, we were having a discussion last night about, like, some of the album reviews, and we were discussing what we thought about some of the points, you know, because everybody's got their own take, right? So sometimes you'll read reviews and, like, two people will say completely conflicting things or, like, opposite things about the same song or the same item. And, you know, because, like, a couple of people in their reviews were like, well, this is pretty much your stoner doom by the book, you know, it's like nothing genre defying or groundbreaking here or whatever. And, you know, generally saying that they liked it, but that it was like nothing out of the ordinary. And I was kind of like, man, I think all of these songs like sound pretty different to me. Like, well, but also the point is I write things that I want to listen to. I write things that, like, yeah, I would put, if I wasn't in this band, I would listen to it in the car because it's got all the stuff I like. It's got a little bit of Motorhead. It's got a little bit of Windhand. It's got a little bit of, like, it's got a little bit of what I like in it. And I don't know if other people like it too. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. You know, when somebody talks like that, there's a part of me, I just, fuck you, leave me alone. Just, I'm doing what I want. I'm doing me. And, you know, but you know what the other part of it is? There have been albums, and I'm going to be honest with you, there have been albums that I listened to that I'm like, no, not having it. No, terrible. And a lot of it, I personally, I might just not have been in the mindset to listen to it. So I'll give it a few times. Not only, you know, that, you know, maybe, you know, I'll have a smoke and I'll listen to it. Maybe I'll hear something different.
We're not a shower.
See, she's just
now you have to screenshot your face.
Yeah.
You just made.
Okay, that was pretty funny. No,
very nice.
Are you jealous of Tradd getting to hang out with me every day listening to all my stupid jokes?
No, every Baroness record is like that for me. The first listen, I'm like, and the next time I'm like, ooh, and the next time after that, I'm like, God damn. And then the next time I'm like, this is awesome. Like, it's just, I love those records. Those are the best records, right?
Yeah.
You discount them because you're like, not my thing. And then, but you want to give it another shot. It's not something that you just listen to, like a top 40 thing you hear on the radio all the time. And you're like, I can totally pass it over. But like, it's worth the extra listens. And then the more you do it, you're like, I found parts I didn't watch it. It's like a good movie.
Absolutely.
Like you watch Inception again, and you're like, ooh, I caught something that I didn't catch the last time.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? Like, it's little stuff.
Speaking of, you know, like words and all that crap. So I'm watching Meet the Fockers for the 1000th time.
Yeah.
And I
spoke me, Greg.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a part in that where he's Greg is talking to De Niro, and he was talking about other family members, and I never got the joke. Like, he was talking about, you know, one of his relatives was Orny Fokker, and then there was Randy Fokker too, and I was like, how did I miss that? So okay, and by the way, I apologize. 2 tracks. Let's go into Headhunters. Okay, so I get this feeling. Whoever's like the narration, dragged down by a person that has it, whatever it is. It's not good for you, but you're having a hard time resisting it and wrestling with the thought of maybe being with someone that you absolutely know isn't good for you, but you don't know how to get away from that. What can you tell me about Headhunters?
Well, you're hitting the nail on the head right there.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
But actually, like, the kind of chorus is from a line, I can't remember who said it, but like I read it one day and it stuck with me, which was like, no man ever sets foot in the same river twice. Like, because the river isn't the same river, it's not the same water, but the man isn't the same man. It's not the same man. And it just kind of like made me think about relationships being the same way. Like, there's a point in time where if you meet that person when you're, 19 or something,
right?
You're not going to be the same person at 19 that you are at 29, and they're not either. So you might know that person, but do you know that person? Did they ever know you? I don't know. It's like kind of a...
Or like you meet that one that got away. You know what I mean? Like you think about it that way, right? So you meet that person that like quote unquote got away a long time ago. Then you meet him now and you're like, yeah, I dodged a bullet.
Well, yeah, or someone that you meet who, like, they've made an impression on you for whatever reason. They've like imprinted it on a tape that like plays. Like, you think about them when you really rather not, but like they just pop into your. I feel like everybody can relate to that. Like everybody has had somebody just kind of like taking up too much space in their mind.
Yes, I've had that.
Yeah.
I've had that, and that person is now my wife. No, and it sounds crazy. We met as teenagers, and you're right. At that time, we were two different people. It probably wouldn't have worked out then. We met later in life, 20 years later, and boom. And I was like, whoa, this is...
That's like the positive way that works out.
Yes. So mine is, I'm not... Yes, exactly. That's basically my point. Yes. There's when listening to headhunter, I don't know what mine would be if I'm not a headhunter. I don't know what the opposite of that would be. Like
okay, well, I guess contextually then we should explain what that song actually is, which is okay.
Is it recruitment for your office?
No. HR hunter.
Yeah.
but no. So Mike Dean produced the record. Mike Dean of Corrosion of Conformity, as you know, he's also my bandmate in Lightning Born, and he's my very, very good friend. And this is my third record that I have made with him. And there are certain things that Mike will do that nobody else would do. So, one of them is his weird affinity for first takes, which drives me nuts because he will always sneak the first take back in. Like, even after you've redone it 20 times.
But it makes you work harder because you want to get that first take right because you know that's the one that he's going to, like, compare everything else to.
Yeah, he gets it, like, stuck in his head. The other thing is sometimes he'll just, like, he'll hear something weird and he'll like it and then he'll just, like, throw you a curveball, and that's what that song is.
So when we were doing the end of the call, is the goal was to make it like super psychedelic and super extra, and I wanted to add a lot of extra percussion to it.
Right.
And because when we play it live, I play very, very simply just so we get the stuff going. But I told him, I was like, listen, I want a lot. Like, I want little clamshell clappers. I want sleigh bells. Like, I want all this stuff. I was like, this is the only problem.
He literally wanted all the bells and whistles.
I did. I wanted minus the whistles. I did not want whistles. But like,
I did.
Okay. But I was like, because I have a huge auxiliary percussion collection at my house, and I wanted to use some of that stuff. And I love African rhythms and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to include as much of that as possible. And I brought stuff like tongue drums in and as many things as possible. And then all of a sudden, Dean was like, what if we just, why don't you try this? And he made me do like a ton of layers. I'm talking a ton, like 7, 8, 9 different layers of auxiliary percussion with different rhythms that was originally going to be for the call. And what he did is we used the stuff that we liked at the end of the call, which was very minimal. And then he took all the rest of that, which was all to the same time signature, and he made this amalgamate of awesome tracks. And I mean, I'm playing it live. Like, I theoretically played all that live, but it's like, I'm not an octopus. Yeah. So, I would need a couple extra hands and feet to do it. But he took all those same rhythms and created this extra song out of it. And he was like, dude, this is totally the Doors. What was the ones he was riffing off of?
My wild run, riding. She rode all the day. Yeah. He was like, Brenna, do you want to like write lyrics to? And I was mad because I was like, you just like sprung it on me at the literal last second. Like, this record is done. What the hell?
Like, what do you want?
No, I was mad.
So Dean and I had to push her over the finish line on that one because she's like, I just want this, like, But it came out so cool. Like, it's such a cool transition from the call to fog.
So
Worth it.
He Frankensteined that drum part on that song. And then I, during quarantine, on my little laptop right here, like, sat and recorded all those vocal parts and sent them to him. So, like, that song is literally a Frankenstein.
Wow. So it sounds to me like when he's creating, he likes the stress and the pressure, and it's like he likes, that like thing you squeeze coal hard enough and it becomes a diamond,
Suffer, if that's what you mean. That's why he's done so many projects with me.
Oh yeah. All right. So all right.
We'll poke for stuff that he thinks is the right way to do it.
Well, that's what you want in a producer.
Yeah,
and that's what you want
absolutely.
in a friend. Like, I trust him wholeheartedly. Like, I respect him, and I wouldn't work with him if not. But I told him the other day, I was like, I want to say thank you so much for your help on this record, and because all of this wouldn't be possible without you. Like, it wouldn't. Yeah. His studio is like 30 feet away from our practice space. He's one of my close friends. He's like, he doesn't care if I text him in the middle of the night with some weird idea or questions. And like, he humors me.
Well, he spends the time. Like, you know what I mean? He's not in it for the
No,
paycheck.
he cares.
At all.
He doesn't
like,
phone anything.
He does not care.
And that's why if he comes up with some random whack-ass idea at the last minute, I won't tell him no. I will always give him the benefit of the doubt and say, I'll give it my best effort. And like, but that's what like creative partnerships are about. You try to make everybody's vision happen. And like, sometimes things work and sometimes they don't, but like
we consider him an additional member just for his idea and his brains and the idea. If we're struggling with something that we can't decide between ourselves, it'll be like, Mike, help.
Mike, tiebreaker,
help us.
But yeah, that's a good segue into talking about Fog though, because he actually plays guitar on Fog.
Please, let's discuss Fog. What can you tell me about it?
That's another last minute, so I had just written that song right before quarantine, and we thought the record was done-ish. Mm-hmm. And when quarantine happened, Todd emailed me, or I emailed Todd, and said that they weren't sure about their vinyl production time, things being delayed.
Well, and that fire had happened out in California.
Yeah, that fire. Ugh. And so I was like, okay, well, I know we were supposed to turn the record in this month. Can we have another month? And he was like, okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. So we added Headhunters and we added Fog, and I did Fog on that same computer at my house. I did a rhythm guitar track, I did a programmed drum track, I did a bass track, and I did all the vocals. And the original version that I just did with the programmed drum track is actually really cool. Like, I think we might...
It does sound cool. It's like super EDM.
It's kind of like 9 Inch Nails. And like, because of the drum track.
It's got a cool vibe. I like it.
That is actually what made Tradd's job so hard, because the programmed drum track was so cool and everybody liked it. Well, and then
but it was something that it wasn't spiders. Like, it didn't feel like spiders that would tie in with the rest of this record.
Okay.
Yeah, so he had to work really hard to be like, okay, well, how do I get this vibe from my basement to like mimic your programmed drum track, but also be human?
So the way I did that is I recorded the cymbals live in my basement, and I have a Roland E-kit. So I did the Roland E-kit to get the drum sounds similar to the E-track that she did.
Right.
Make sure the cymbals were tied in with the rest of the record. And then
that's cool.
Then I let Dean kind of deal with all the puzzle pieces.
Yeah, so we pretty much gave him, okay, here's the rhythm guitar track, bass track, vocals, here's the drums. Why don't you like add some cool little guitar leads on there and whatever else you want? And you can hear some, don't even know what all he snuck in there, because he doesn't tell you sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
And then you'll just be like, what is that? And
But he gets a smirk on his face when
it's
you
a
find it out.
glockenspiel. And
Yeah.
it's like, what?
He gets that smirk. He gets a smirk on his face when he's like, "Ah, you heard it."
I was gonna say
Nice.
there's an Easter egg in is it The Call?
Yes,
Yeah.
there is.
Like, so we're doing The Call. I'm in there doing vocals. It's at the end of the verse, and like we're listening back to it in the studio, and he just like runs around to the other side of the booth, and he goes, "All right," into the microphone, and it's on the record.
Yeah.
Like,
No, he does
so
a "Let's Go." There's a "Let's Go."
there's
on
a
there,
"Let's
too.
Go" and an "All right."
Yeah, he
All
he
right.
sneaks them both in.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna now. I got to go back and hear that again and figure it
Yeah.
out.
Listen
You'll
to the
hear it.
song. That's featuring Mike Deep.
Yeah. He's uncredited, but it's like, it's like a blue card. Now that we've told you that it exists,
You'll
won't-
never not
you'll
see
never
it
not
again.
hear it. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you know what? Hey, this has been. I had a blast doing this, man.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
was really fun.
Thanks, man. This is
Thank
fun.
you.
We never get to talk about like all the intricacies.
I feel like we've both learned something
We have all three of us.
today.
A lot happened. Two things before we go. Number one, Tradd, did you say do you have hang drums?
I do.
So they didn't make it on the record though. Is that correct? Or did they?
Correct. They were not the right tuning.
Okay.
Because mine were just a wee bit off. When I was trying to play it, Dean was like, "Yeah, it's like that little bit off," and we were recording to tape,
Mhm.
so there was no way that he could translate the kind of the overtones to
Right.
make it fit with everything else. It's something in the back of our heads, though. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm
What's
always
this?
thinking about odd stuff like that, but
And what's the secret of playing the hang drums well?
in my opinion, is have a central note. So, for example, like the way you situate the drum needs to be like whatever your dominant hand is, your right or
Mhm.
left hand. That thumb needs to be the corner, like your what's it called? Cornerstone. Well, there's a better word for it. But needs to be the cornerstone for the rest of your beats.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Basis,
Arches, like on the arches with the old Greek things.
McDonald's, Golden Arches.
Linchpin. That'll work.
that
But
sounds good.
you have a central location that then you build your rhythms off of.
Okay.
So everything comes off from that one solid bass drum note. It's kind of
Right.
like the Bootsy Collins video where he's like, "All you gotta do is hit the one, baby." Like that's
Jamming
that.
on the one.
Jamming on the one. Like it's that, but that to play hang drum effectively, that's what it is to me. Is you need to come back to that central tone
Right.
that then permeates with the rest of the drum.
And that Bootsy Collins episode of Tales from the Tour Bus, absolutely classic. If you haven't seen it yet.
We
Yeah.
quote Bootsy a lot. We love Bootsy.
I love Bootsy. And also looking at this merch, I understand this shirt is for a female, but I like the colors and stuff. I think it's gorgeous. This what is it called? Grim Rodeo T-shirt in a crystal wash.
They're all unisex.
Do they have?
Doesn't matter.
I just put hot girls on there because they're my friends, and hot girls get people's attention.
All right, I might have to sew two of them together to fit me, but either way, all right.
What size do you wear? We have them.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that after. I promise. I know. You know what? I know. Patches are one size fits all. That's what I know.
And we have sunglasses. Crystal spider sunglasses.
I saw this. You got sunglasses. There's T-shirts. There's patches.
They're hoodies. It's fall.
We're good for summer and winter. We're good
Ooh. That reminds me of there was this horrendous spot in Pennsylvania. It was called Mount Airy Lodge, and it was a place. I guess you used to take your mistresses there or whatever, and it would say winter, spring, summer, fall. We've got it all, and it comes complete with lawyers and divorce papers. Thank you both so much for hanging out with me.
No, thank you.
Thanks,
It's
man.
really
This was fun.
Hopefully, we'll get to do it in person one of these days. We forgot to ask. Where do you live?
I am in Arizona.
Arizona. Cool.
Yeah. So you're getting ready for the live thing. Is that start? When's that start?
Like now.
No,
Like-
we'll delay it a little
Like,
bit.
all right.
It's Saturday night. Maybe people will listen. Maybe they won't. We'll see.
Whatever.
We'll
We're
try
thinking
to entreat people to ask us stupid questions and we'll give you stupid answers.
And if it's lame and boring and nobody shows up, then I'll just start charting the stuff for the record tomorrow.
I was gonna say, we're just gonna be sitting here listening to records. So
Yeah.
ask us questions, or you know what? Don't. Who cares?
Well, I think we've got it all covered. So thank you both so much. And yeah, I can't wait to see you on tour once you get out here. And if by chance this is one of those things where we get back to live music and I got to go to some of these Doom Fests, man, because I miss my quote unquote, my Doom hugs. I haven't gotten them in a while. And I'm missing my friends and my Doom family. So thank you so much for hanging out with us, and look forward to some much more success and a repress, because it looks like it's going to be needed soon.
Well, and you'll have a second album to look forward to before you know it.
Yeah. Hopefully come the spring.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Talk to you later.
Thanks so much to Brenna and Tradd for giving us their time. The album is called Molt. The band is Crystal Spiders. Let's hear a track off of that. This is Chronic Sick.
Step in the fall.
thanks for hanging out towards the end, whether it's craniumradio.com, where I have the show, The Doom Tomb, and the Doom Tomb podcast, or if it's any of the sponsors, we've got Fuzzy Cracklins Presents and The Swamp Records. We've got Mucho Printing, Glory or Death Records. Links are in the show notes. And for social media, or if you need to contact us, all our links are in the show notes. Pretty damn simple. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. We really appreciate it. And thank you once again to Ian from No Masters Audio for making this sound absolutely amazing. You've been taking it to new levels, brother, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, and we will talk to you soon. Until that next time, meantime and in between time, take care of yourselves, enjoy yourselves, stay healthy, stay happy, and above all, don't forget to stay heavy.